What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. So today Kyle and I are actually in the snake room, which is your favorite room here at the property. The reason is we're having issues, guys. As you can see, some of you have noticed the standalone AC unit back here. That's because there are some major issues here with as far as heating in the snake room. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so we're going to do some maintenance today, but before we get into that, like I mentioned, we have some issues here. So first of all, that AC unit that we've had since we built the room, it failed. So I came in here one day and the room was like 85, and as you probably know, when we have some of these cooler temperature Vipers, like the Ming, the Bushmasters, and the Wagglers, if it gets, I mean really 85 is kind of pushing it, but if it gets above there, we're in the danger zone. So what we did is we got the stand-up AC, which was working fine for a little bit, as well as we re-insulated the ceiling, because when it was originally insulated, it had some sort of insulation paper kind of thing that was supposed to be all the rage. Well, it wasn't, it sucked. But this AC unit is failing as well. And by failing, I mean it's dumping water all on the ground. So we're really running out of options here. So what we did is we actually ordered a split unit. It's an AC heater split that has like the outside component, the big fan and everything outside. So that will eliminate the leaking problem. And honestly, we ordered one oversized. It's probably about a third bigger than what we needed. So this room should be able to stay completely at the temperature that we want it. So we're gonna go ahead and get that today. But while we're in here, how about we take out some snakes? We've got to service the King today because he dropped a few deuces in here over the last 3 days, because he actually has been eating quite a bit and growing a lot. So let's take him out and see just how big King Cobra is getting. Oh, and he's in shed. All right, so that's good. That means he's getting bigger. One thing though, since King Cobras are very visual, when they're in shed, they can't see so well, so they react a lot more to touch. But as you can see, King Cobra is really chill. You can see he's getting quite large. I mean, I feel like every time I pull him out, I was like, dude, you grew a foot. I mean, he's solid 8 foot now. And as you can see, he's getting really thick. So let me go ahead and readjust here. But like, yeah, check that out, guys. He's getting so freaking big. It's crazy to think that when we got this snake, he was only maybe 3 feet long and about as thick around as a pencil. So he's got a little bit of sight there. He can't see very well, so he doesn't really know what Kyle's doing. But this snake is freaking awesome. And as you guys have seen in other videos, his colors are amazing. Right now he's in blue, so he's just got that blue tint over him. And when snakes go into shed, the first thing you'll see is they'll go into this blue, and then after a couple days, what they'll do is they'll go clear again, and then look like they're not really in shed, and then 2 to 3 days later they'll shed. So he is in the beginning stages now. But as you can see, I mean, let's get him, see if he'll stretch out at all. These are 8 foot cages, so we can get some sort of size reference. And if he'll stretch out, you want to go this way, buddy? Let's see. No. Keep going that way. So we can just get somewhat of an idea. So I mean, he is, I would say, right at the 8 foot mark. As you guys can see, if I pull his tail out, it's touching the end, and then his head was right at the other end when he's all stretched out. So he's just at 8 foot. And I believe now he is, I want to say, just hitting 2 years old. So I'm gonna go ahead and put him in the container, and then we'll clean out his cage really quick. Alright guys, so we'll go ahead and get him out. And all he wants to do is be left alone because he's in shed, and he's just like, let me just get through this. I'm growing, come on now. And once he notices where he's at, that he's going back in his cage, he'll do the rest of the work for me. But I cannot believe how big he is now. I mean, once he sheds, he's gonna be absolutely gigantic. It feels like every time he sheds, he grows like 6 inches. Back in there. we got them all cleaned up. Now what we're gonna do is just close this up and we'll get on to the next snake. I mean, what do you guys say? Let's check out the Ming shins real quick, and then we actually have a surprise for you. Because it was actually a surprise for us as well, so let's check this out. Now check that out. This is the female Ming Shan pit viper. And as you can see, she is growing like a weed. And quite honestly, these guys are very, very moody. However, this female has been mellowing out really nicely. I do handle her more than the male, although I don't handle them very often at all. I'm just letting them do their thing, grow, establish. Because with a snake this rare, the last thing I want to do is stress them out and lose them. I definitely do not want him to, or either of them, to pass away due to stress or anything. So I've just really been leaving them alone, feeding them, and only handling when I need to clean. But as you can see, she is starting to get a lot more tolerant with handling it. If this was when I first got them, she would have already struck like probably 15 times by now. I mean, they were really bitey when they were babies. And these guys do grow quite large in the 6-7 foot range. Probably gonna take 3 to 4 years to hit that range though. Right now she is, I wanna say 7 months old. She's under a year for sure. But these guys are so cool, they're so cryptic. And they do mellow out a ton once they're larger. I mean, I've seen, if you guys know Tom Crutchfield, he's got some adults that are puppy dog tame and they're 7 foot.
All right, so even though I give Brian a lot of shit about snakes, I have a couple of snakes of my own. Now, they're not as crazy as what he's got here, but a year and a half ago, I got 2 corn snakes, a male and female. The male was an anery tessera corn snake, and the female was supposedly normal, just het scaleless. Well, I had kept them together, and they happened to lay eggs. But this is the outcome, which is crazy, because, I mean, first off, albino. Like, where the heck did that come from? And secondly, they're all tessera, which is that just lateral stripe down the whole thing.
And now that I'm looking at it, those 2 are aneries.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
So that means your normal one is also, it's a het anery, het albino, het scaleless, plus whatever else is in there.
And the anery tessera had to be
het albino as well.
Het albino too. So it's crazy. That's the cool thing is, like, you know, I don't want scaleless, but this is like the perfect thing for me because it's just such a surprise.
Yeah, and I don't think that your male's het scaleless because you would have got one.
Really?
You should have got.
Is it a dominant trait?
It's a recessive trait. So in theory, 1 in 4 would have come out scaleless.
Even if that one was just a het for it, and
the other one had to be a het for it.
Yeah.
So the anery doesn't look like it was a het because no scales came out.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting.
But it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. These tiny little things. So I'm excited to see these guys grow, especially the albino tessera. I love albinos. I love the tessera, the beautiful lateral stripe. And yeah, I mean, it's great genetics, obviously, in those two. I mean, that's what's crazy is, like, you know, especially with, like, feel like ball pythons, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into. But it seems like, obviously, with corn snakes, you can just buy a normal-looking snake and out pops albinos and tesseras.
Yeah, and these ones, just so you know, they weren't intended to be bred. You just had them together, and they ended up having babies or eggs.
Definitely separate them now. But
yeah.
Yeah, so we're just gonna keep them in here for now, and then you're saying once they shed, Ryan?
Yeah, once they shed, then we'll separate them and get them all eating. But they were literally just born like 2 days ago, so they're just gonna sit in there. They'll go through their first shed. Baby snakes have egg yolk, so until their first shed, they're still good on the egg yolk. As far as a meal. And you know what? That one might be a snow.
What? What do you say that?
I mean, the corn snake people are gonna let me know, but it looks like it might be, and which would make sense if all those are anery. I mean, a snow is just an albino anery.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, that one's definitely spunky.
But any of you guys corn snake people on there, let me know, or let us know. Is that a snow or is that just an albino tessera? And again, this is your pet project. You're gonna keep them. You're not breeding them to breed them or breed them to sell them. It's just, you like them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and possibly in the future, you know, we could breed them intentionally this time and sell the babies. But until then, they are not going anywhere.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's video. We're gonna go get that AC fixed now because it's gonna be 92 degrees until like November. So we obviously need to get that fixed. But what do you want these guys to do? Where should they go from this point forward?
Who?
The people watching. What do you want them to do? You gotta like, you gotta comment, and you gotta subscribe. Also check us out on
That'd be
Patreon.
nice. That'd be
Yeah.
nice.
And Instagram at Permanent Predators. We'll see you on the next one.
So you guys.